Well, Chris, welcome back to Darton Football Club. And on Saturday, we're having the trophy replay. And of course, you've got many, many, many happy memories of that day.
Yeah, it was a great day, Ray. To be honest, it seems, looking back now, it's nine years ago already, and time seemed to have flown. And to be honest, when you do look at that time and how quickly it's gone, especially in these current times, it makes you really appreciate what happened, really.
Yeah. When you look back at that season, you scored more than the one goal, didn't you? You scored more than the goal at Wembley.
I did, yeah.
Scoring, for example, a terrific goal down at Bath when you flicked it over the defender and volleyed in.
Yeah, that were quite a few of my goals looking back were actually headers, which for someone at 5'5" is quite surprising actually. I think my first goal for the club was at Eastbourne away in a match that a lot of us probably want to forget from that season. Yeah. I think we drew 1-1 against 9 men, and they had a midfielder in goals for 60 minutes. So
that's right.
That was no good. That was my first goal for the club, and then I think probably the third and fourth were headers as well, like I said, away at Bath. So I've just had a quick look back at the fixtures and results from that season, and to be honest, I know we came away and we won the trophy, but looking back with probably some quite disappointing results along the way. We should have at least got in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's right. We just started to DC, didn't we? We never really got stuck into the top end of the table. But looking back in the build-up towards that game at Wembley, you picked up an injury, didn't you, about 3 or 4 weeks beforehand, and there was a big doubt about whether you'd play or not.
Yeah, it was against our bogey team, actually. It was Hayes and Yedding away. Started the match, and I think we found ourselves 2-0 down quite quickly. And actually had an opportunity, and how the injury came about was struck the ball, probably should have scored, hit the post, but as I landed, actually I tore my calf muscle, and I knew straight away that it was a bad injury, and you get that gut feeling. I was devastated, quite selfishly really, that all the way back up the M1 we just lost 3-2. I think the young lads of Smudger and a couple of other boys had done really well, got us back in the game nearly, but like I said, from a really selfish point of view, I was sat on the bus and I thought that was it. But luckily, I worked really hard, and along with the physio, it was Ali at the time, and I realised that the squad was actually, who was available for the final, was going to be quite limited, because we had quite a few players who, out of a good squad, who actually couldn't make the final for one reason or another. So it's quite important that I really worked hard to try and help the team and the squad fill the bench, really, never mind make the final.
Well, that's right, yeah. You were named on the bench. I remember Liam Hatch, usually a striker. I remember he'd scored those goals against Gateshead in the semi. He had to play centre-half, didn't he?
Yeah, Hatcher did really well for us. That again, I think those 2 games against Gateshead, they were looking again, like I said, I've looked at the pictures, results from over the season, and Gateshead, again, being a local team, the 2 derby matches in the league, and then obviously two derby matches in the trophy as well. It adds that little bit of extra spice, and I don't think we've particularly played very well in this, especially in the home leg. But Hatcher came up trumps and got some really important goals, and then obviously the nervy result away at Gateshead on that famous day before the final. So no, it was he did really well, and then really the manager Coops had no option to play Hatcher there, and I think he did well towards the back end of the season. Mark, the gaffer, probably experimented a little bit playing Hatcher there because he realised he had no other option come the final at Wembley.
Yeah. Anyway, on the day, you named on the bench. Half time, 0-0. We had a couple of chances, didn't we, in that first half? We had a couple of chances early on in that second half, and then you came on as sub for John Campbell, and we still managed to mismatch it, didn't we? And chances in front of goal.
We did. We missed quite a few chances, and I must admit, I think Mansfield probably missed quite a few as well. But it was quite an open game. My recollection of the day is that it was boiling hot. The weather was so. It played a big part, obviously, in that cauldron of Wembley, and it really does beat down on the pitch and the bench. And I can remember sat there actually next to young. Well, he's not so young anymore. Next to Phil Gray. And saying to him, someone's going to win it from the bench today. And luckily it was myself. I was just dying to get on the pitch because I knew that with how hard I'd worked over the last couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks since Hayes and Yedding. Obviously, not much football being played, but my fitness levels were actually quite high. And to see a tiring team out there, it needed, whether it be myself or a man who came on, and I think a man Verma came on quite early for Gary Smith. PT also came on, so it was always going to be tight, and that little bit of a spark, whether it's from ourselves at Darlow or a Mansfield player, then I think a substitution was always going to be an important part to play that day.
But it was 0-0 through 90 minutes. It was 0-0 through extra time. Every single fan was thinking, oh no, I don't want a penalty shootout. And then it happens with a throw in from the left-hand side by Aaron Brown. And take us through the goal again. You'll have seen it hundreds of times on YouTube.
Yeah, I think I've taken the YouTube figures through the roof, and me and my family. But I tried to show him a little boy actually a couple of months ago, and he wasn't bothered. He was like, "All right, okay, Daddy," and that was it. But obviously, like all my family was, my wife was pregnant with Zach at the time. She was probably 6.5, 7 months pregnant. So, to be honest, I'm surprised that he wasn't the first baby to be given birth at Wembley. So, no, I think looking back, I think we was really knocking on the door. It wasn't just like a long hoof forward. We win a throw in and then load everything into the box. Obviously, we did do that in the end, but we'd had a couple of chances before that. I think the keeper, Marriott, had made a good save from Dusty. I think Hatchie had a little header, and then there'd been another one cleared off the line and up what had flicked over the bar as well. Tommy Wright had gone close with a diving header. So there were chances, and it was coming, and I was just praying it wouldn't go to penalties because, to be honest, I'd missed my last 2 penalties before that anyway. So I would have taken one. And I think I've said to you previously, my mind was made up, I was just going to blast it. On those 2 penalties that I'd taken previously that I'd missed, I'd changed my mind on both times. So a final at Wembley is no time to be changing your mind. But yeah, we've got to get the throw in, and we knew Brownie had a long throw, so why not load the box like we did? Everybody comes up. I think, from what I recall, I think Dusty and Hatchie both came up.
That's right.
So in the box, we like 3 big lads there of Hatchie, Dusty and Tommy Wright. And then it was something, it sounds, under Coops he was very good at this, of called ringing the box and recycling. And so if anything popped down to the edge of the box, I think Bridgie will have been in there, probably Jimmy Chandler. Just load it back in there. But Dusty's gone there. I think Hatchie's gone for the flick on. Tommy Wright's obviously in there somewhere. And just how the ball, with the trajectory of the ball, it was never going to hit the bar and go over. So it was either going to drop in straight away from Hatchie's header, or it was going to come back down. It was just basically, do I have enough time to redirect this on target? And the rest is history, really.
Yeah, and then you celebrated behind the goal, and everybody went ballistic, I suppose, didn't it?
Yeah, I did. I started actually running to the right, and you can probably see from the footage that I kind of like have to deviate a little bit, because I knew my family was in that far corner. So excluding my heavily pregnant wife, and a couple of my friends and my sister who happened to be in the so-called posh seats, what was through the club. My mum, my dad, my granddad, my uncle, XYZ sisters, they were in the corner with everybody. So I thought if I could try and get near them somehow. But now, I think Tommy Wright had a say in that. I think Hatchie was there. I know PT tried stuffing my mouth full of grass, which I weren't too clever about. Annie tried telling me to calm down. I think I was going to start crying at one point. You know, it's just a flood of emotions. And the raw, to be honest, what you hear from the crowd, it's something that'll live with me forever. I've been fortunate to go back to Wembley on a few occasions since, supporting my boyhood team, Huddersfield, obviously, when we got to and also working a few occasions. But to realise that I've been part of a team that's walked up them steps and lifted that trophy, it's something that's quite hard to describe, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's an amazing feeling as well, being at the top on the balcony there, there and receiving the adulation and the applause from the fans and the celebrations afterwards as well.
Yeah, celebrations were brilliant. I'm glad also, like, it wasn't just the squad of that day that got involved with the celebrations. Like, I've just tried to wrap my brains there. So, like I mentioned, young Phil Gray, there was Danzel St. Louis, the substitute keeper, and we had I'm going to have a quick look so I don't miss anyone out, but I've written them down, like Michael Brough, Dan Byrne, Curtis May, Michael Smith, John McCready. There was Adam Quinn there, who a lot of people probably forget. Quinny came in towards the back end of the season. Greg Taylor and Gazway, and then sadly for Nathan Modesta was on loan from Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. So for Nathan, I think it came down to a decision between me and Nathan who was going to be on the bench. So unfortunately, one of us had to miss out. But it showed the togetherness of that squad of what had really, that everyone was together. We all went up the steps together. We all came down the steps together, and we had a great party on the pitch afterwards with the fans. So it was amazing, really.
Yeah, it was great, but it was tinged with sadness 3 or 4 days later, wasn't it, when you were told you were going to be released?
Yeah, I think I've spoke about it before, and it's not a nice thing, whether it's 2 or 3 days afterwards, or if Coops had left it on the club and decided to leave it a week or so. I think there's never going to be a good time. I think the timing could have been better, but I don't know what's the best way. I think if I'd have been told probably the day before, that might have been easier from a personal point of view, because it could have given me time to get my head around it and obviously come up and enjoy the celebrations. But no, I think in hindsight, from a manager's point of view, there's probably not an easy time to make that decision, have that conversation. So there's no hard feelings there.
Yeah. The ironic thing was that you went to Alfreton, and I think it wasn't in the September or the October, you had a midweek game at Darlow at the Arena.
And I think it was actually it was in August.
And you got the biggest cheer of the night when the teams were announced.
Yeah, that did feel a bit weird, and especially going back to the Arena so soon after at the start of the season and after what had happened at the end of the season. It felt a bit weird, to be honest. Walking in with Alfreton into the Arena and seeing the big pictures celebrating of myself holding the trophy on the stadium. That was the first time I'd actually seen that. And as we were getting there on the team bus, I was like, oh gosh. And some of our lads were like, Christ, Chris, what's going on? I was like, I don't know myself. So now it was obviously the really happy memories. It's just a pity from the club's point of view that they're not still playing in that big, beautiful stadium. But these things happen. They happen for one reason or another, and they find themselves where they are now, and that's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah. So what have you done with yourself since Alfreton? We've seen you on the bench at Arsenal.
Yeah,
we've seen you with Wales.
Yeah, at the minute now, so I'm back up home. I'm back up living in Huddersfield again. So I had 3.5, nearly 4 years down at Arsenal. So I'm on the staff side of things, and I'm a soft tissue therapist at Sheffield United now. So we're having a good season. Obviously, there's a little situation where we're having a bit of a break at the minute, which is out of everybody's hands. But no, we're doing all right. We're ticking along nicely.
Yeah, and of course Saturday you're going to be tuned in with probably thousands of other Darlow fans to watch the 120+1 minutes. The replay.
Yeah, well, there's no need to watch it after the goal. I can't remember anything after that, to be honest. All I can remember is from the goal. Actually, you've just reminded me, Ray, of, like I said, my eyes were filling up a little bit. Arnie was like screaming in my face. There's a picture of him holding my face like that.
Yes.
And all I could taste was grass, because PT had stuffed grass in my mouth for some stupid reason. I think he'd seen his brother do it to someone when they were lifting Premier League trophy, so he thought it'd be funny. But Bridgie was saying, switch on, there's a few minutes left. I couldn't tell you how I even walked back to the halfway line, to be honest. It was all just a blur. All I do know is that they did have another chance. They put it in the box.
That's right, from a free kick.
Yeah, Dusty got his head to it, so I've watched that back since. But yeah, I'll be tuning in with a beer, mate, on Saturday.
And great memories, though, isn't it, Chris? Like, no matter what happens now in your ball career, they kind of take away the fact that you scored the winner in the last minute at Wembley.
No, I think that's it. I think when you do look back, and obviously my boots are well and truly hung up now, but I'm still working in football. So when I have had the opportunity to go back there, I just walk in the stadium. You have a little wry smile to yourself, and yeah, it's something that can't be taken away. And as I said, it's not just about myself scoring, which obviously it's a nice thing as a forward. You always you dream about scoring for England, playing the FA Cup final, but to score the winner at Wembley, it's like I said, it's something I can't really describe because it was such a release of emotion. But I know there's something goes on Twitter, Happy Chris Senior Day, a hashtag that.
That's Thursday.
Yeah, I'd like, if possible, I wouldn't mind that stopping, to be honest, because I think we won as a team. We won a lot of games that season as a team. We also lost a lot of games that season as a team. And the game at Wembley was no different. So I think that needs to just call it Happy FA Trophy Day or something like that.